Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and Shalom to the Arkim that are teaching this word around the globe with faith and truth and sincerity. This is the brother Caleb coming back at you with another lesson from the GMS London Forecasters Camp to edify the Lord's elect. As always, I like to start by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites. The real Israelites, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians and West Africans predominantly. However, you are going to get Israelites that look like the other nations because Israel has been scattered amongst all nations throughout our various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible that was named Israel, then you too are an Israelite no matter what you may look like, because the book of Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18 states that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers, okay? So I was just doing a bit of studying, and I was reading Proverbs, the 12th chapter, and I thought there's a lot of good points that are made in Proverbs, the 12th chapter, in regards to conduct and being mindful of the things that you say, because, you know, the scriptures say life and death are in the power of the tongue, and Proverbs 12 gives us very good examples of that. I don't know if this particular precept that I just roughly paraphrased is actually in this chapter, but I'm going to read this chapter nonetheless because I found it to be very interesting when I was just studying it. So this is Proverbs 12 and 1. It says, Whoso loveth instructions loveth knowledge, but he that hateth reproof is brutish. Now, I can use testimonies of being in the world where you find that there's certain people who can hate reproof, especially when I find a lot of adults tend to hate reproof. You know, if you're a child and your parent says, oh, you know, you need to do things this way, or you're doing something incorrectly, you know, unless the child's well, wicked, most children will be willing to adapt, because the child instinctively knows, I need to learn. You know, I don't understand this. I need to learn this. I need to learn that. So that's why young children are like, in some ways, they're like sponges, and they just absorb information when it comes to them, and they adapt very quickly. Now, what tends to happen is, as people get older, they tend to think that they know. They have a level of pride in them where they think, you know what, I know this, I know that, and I'm not going to humble myself and relearn. You know, they don't want to be, as the scriptures say, born again, as in to go back to that state of being a little child and knowing that, you know what, I need to learn again. I've been taught a wrong way. Now I need to forget what I've learned so I can learn the right way. A lot of adults tend to be too proud to acknowledge that fact. So therefore they become stubborn and they dig their heels in, all because of pride. See, because it's pride that prevents a person from accepting that humble truth, that they need to humble down and relearn, go back to square one, you know, understand that, okay, I need to learn the right way, so therefore I need to unlearn what I've learned and start over. A lot of adults are too proud to do that. So let's read this again. Whoso loveth instruction loveth knowledge, but he that hateth reproof is brutish. Yeah, a good man obtaineth favour of Yahweh, but a man of wicked devices he will condemn. A man shall not be established by wickedness, but the root of the righteous shall not be moved. A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is rottenness in his bones. Real talk. The thoughts of the righteous are right, but the counsels of the wicked are deceit. The words of the wicked are to lie in wait for blood, but the mouth of the upright shall deliver them. The wicked are overthrown and are not, but the house of the righteous shall stand. So there's a couple of verses I just read there. Let me break some of these down, yeah? Verse 5, the thoughts of the righteous are right, but the counsels of the wicked are deceit. You see, so someone who is engaged in the counsel of the wicked, they're not dealing with the truth. And if you're not dealing with the truth, you're not going to be established, because you're going to have no root in you. So therefore, while you may think that you're benefiting by engaging in counsels of deceit, really you're just building a house on sand, because eventually the truth's going to come along and it's going to smash that shit to pieces. And you're not going to be able to stand. Whereas if you build your foundation upon 100% solid truth, your house is going to stand, because the truth isn't going to destroy the truth. The truth is going to magnify it. You see what I'm saying? So if you're doing things the correct way, you can't go wrong, because you're doing it in truth. Whereas if you're doing it falsely or in a manner of deceit, you may endure for a moment, but when the real weight of the truth hits that, it's going to be destroyed. That's how the truth works. As I've said before, the truth is a lot like gravity. You can deny it exists, but eventually it's going to pull your thing apart if you're not rooted in truth. So it says, reading on, verse 8, a man shall be commended according to his wisdom, but he that is of a perverse heart shall be despised. Yes, if you've got a perverse heart, you're going to be despised because you've got a perverse heart. You know what I mean? Whereas if you're a wise man, you're going to be commended according to your wisdom in due time. Yeah, you may get people scoffing or laughing at you for a moment or two, but in the end, people are going to understand, hey, that guy was right because he was rooted in the truth. So it says, he that is despised and hath a servant is better than he that honoureth himself and lacketh bread. Let's read that again. He that is despised and hath a servant is better than he that honoureth himself and lacketh bread. So if you're proud and you're honouring yourself, someone who is despised and have a servant is better off than you are, because if you're proud and honouring yourself, all you're doing is just, as the saying goes, blowing smoke up your own backside. You're getting gassed off your own juice, so to speak. It's not really very wise. A righteous man regardeth the life of his beast, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. And that's very true, because speaking of Esau and these Edomites, they go around the world, like, you got your David Attenboroughs and what have you. Esau likes to project himself as being the man who cares about nature, and he's so into, wildlife and all this shit. But really, the only reason why Esau is into wildlife is because he wants to destroy and control it. He ain't a real lover of nature. He doesn't love creation the way we love creation, because we want to see creation flourish. Esau wants to stifle, stagnate, and control all of creation, because he wants to be like the Most High. That's why it says, a righteous man regardeth the life of his beast, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. That's a good one. That's maybe even a whole topic for a lesson to go into there, maybe, Lord willing. Reading on. And that's the good thing about, books like Proverbs, Psalms, Wisdom of Solomon, Ecclesiastes, Sirach. All these books, just reading a chapter, a few chapters a day, it really increases your wisdom and your understanding, and gives you a lot of ideas that maybe can be turned into potential topics for video or lesson, That's what I find, at least. He that tilleth his land shall be satisfied with bread, but he that followeth vain persons is void of understanding. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. I'll read it again. He that tilleth his land shall be satisfied with bread. So if you're working your own land, paying attention to your own business, you're going to be satisfied with bread. But he that followeth vain persons is void of understanding. So if you're following men that are going off, or guys that are not in the truth, you're void of understanding. The wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips, but the just shall come out of trouble. And this is a good point. This is Proverbs 12:13. So it's like I missed the verse, Salakia. Proverbs 12:12. The wicked desireth the net of evil men, but the root of the righteous yieldeth fruit. Yeah, you're not supposed to lie in wait with evil men for someone else to trip up or fall. You're not supposed to be doing that towards, bothering the truth or whatever. But Proverbs 12:13 is what I was reading. It says, the wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips, but the just shall come out of trouble. Yeah, so basically, that's pretty self-explanatory. If you're talking shit and you're running your mouth, eventually you're going to get caught up in your own words, because you're going to be speaking on things that aren't that are not conducive to be spoken of. And when someone pulls you up on it, You're not going to be able to say, oh, but I didn't say that. You're going to be snared in transgression of your own lips, which goes on to the point of what I was saying at the start of this, isn't that life and death are in the power of the tongue. And there's another precept which says the most difficult thing for a man to gain control of is his own tongue. So my point is that, well, not my point, the Bible's point is that the wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips, but the just shall come out of trouble. Because if you're a just man and someone says, okay, well, you said that, and you could turn around and say, well, look, I didn't actually say that, you're not going to be snared in the transgression of your lips because you didn't say what you've been accused of saying. Whereas if you've said something and you're wrong, you're going to have to give an account for it, because the scriptures do say every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give an account thereof in the day of judgment. So, and also when you say something, maybe you say it in private, maybe you say it in your own mind, in your own heart, but guess what? Yahushua hears you and he knows your thoughts. So while you may be able to hide a wicked tongue from men, you might not say it in their presence, Yahushua has got you, man, and everything that's being said is being recorded by the angels anyway. So there's no hiding. So it says, this is a beautiful next verse which links with that. It says, Proverbs 12:14. A man shall be satisfied by the good. So, a man shall be satisfied with the good. A man shall be satisfied, Salakia, with good by the fruit of his mouth, and the recompense of a man's hands shall be rendered unto him. Yeah, so by the fruit of your mouth you can do good or you can do evil. And a man shall be satisfied with good by the fruit of his mouth, meaning the words that you speak. As I said before, life and death are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 12:15. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise. And that's a great precept, because all of us have a certain level of understanding. Like, everybody's got a certain level of understanding. How do you increase your understanding? Well, by hearkening unto wise men. In our case, we hearken unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yes, some of us may have came to this truth with a fragment of understanding, in terms of, okay, we understood that the Most High is real and that the Bible is a powerful book. But once we hearken unto the counsel of the elders and they broke down the full understanding and the precepts, we gained more understanding, and that's how we became wise, because we came under the correct teachers. In anything, yeah, there's certain things you can teach yourself if you're so inclined and you have the skill, or if the Most High puts the wisdom into you. But there's going to come a point where you can always learn more by hearkening on to wise counsel. There's things that you may have studied and learned, like, for example, I'll use music as an example because I enjoy music. I've taught myself to play a few instruments, but there's always things I can learn by watching other musicians, seeing other strategies that I might not have considered that I can apply to my own game to make myself better. This is simply how it works. Or even just sometimes watching someone or being inspired by seeing someone else do something. Like someone else might write a song you never thought of. You're listening to that song and you get inspired, and then you write another song, and then that might inspire someone else. We don't live in a vacuum. We live in a world which is full of many people, and this is how Yahweh ordained it to be. If he wanted us to all be alone and just work everything out by ourselves, he'd just he could spread us all out across the universe. So you're just one person in one place, just living by yourself, working everything out by yourself. No, Yahweh didn't want it like that. He made people to interact and to learn from each other. Both, you can see someone's negative ways, you can see someone's positive ways. You can see someone else making a mistake, you can think, okay, I'm not going to repeat that mistake. You learn. You know what I'm saying? So we don't live in a sort of like a vacuum where we're just all by ourselves. That's not how the Most High ordained it to be. Reading on. Proverbs 12:16. A fool's wrath is presently known, but a prudent man covereth shame. Yeah, if you're a fool, you're going to make your wrath presently known. You're not going to be able to overlook something and be like, you know what, man, I'm going to look past that. You're going to, and you're always going to be, and then he did this to me, or then she did that to me, and then they did this to me, and then they did that to me. You're always going to be stuck on the same point. You're not going to be able to get over things. And if you can't get over things, that's basically a breeding ground for demons. Because those demons are going to work on your mind, and they're going to poison your heart. And they're going to poison your heart, meaning your mind, and make you think nothing but ill thoughts and evil intents towards this other person. And really, you don't even need to be doing that, man. If someone has wronged you, you don't need to avenge yourself too much. Just pray to the Lord and leave it at that. You know, if all in due time, if you've been wronged, your Yahushua is going to defend you eventually. You don't need to be working overtime trying to trip someone up or see them fall. You don't need to do that, man. You don't need to be doing that. Proverbs 12 and 13, you know. Fear the Most High and keep the commandments. That's the whole duty of man. That's all you need to be focused on. You know, do the work. Do the work. Study. Do your lessons. Just keep it simple, man. He that speaketh truth. Proverbs 12:17. He that speaketh truth show forth righteousness, but false witness deceit. And that's a sin. You're not supposed to bear false witness. That is a heavy sin. Verse 18. There is that speaketh like the piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is health. Yeah, so if you're wicked and if you're talking shit, essentially, your words are like the piercings of a sword, you know. But the tongue of the wise is health. See, this is the thing. I've always said this before. It's very easy to tear someone down. It's very easy to do that if you. It ain't hard. You know, I used to do that a lot when I was in the world. When I was young, you know, I had a very sharp tongue. I could cuss people out. I still can, but you know, I mean, only when it's appropriate. But you know, it's a different thing to build someone up. You know, so to read that again. There is that speaketh like the piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is health. Yeah, you can feed people through the good of your tongue, and you can help build people up rather than tear them down with the good of your tongue. Deceit is in the heart of them that imagine evil, but to the counselors of peace is joy. Self-explanatory. Deceit is in the heart of them that imagine evil. So if you're sitting there imagining evil to someone, against someone who might be righteous, you're only wronging your own soul, you know. There shall no evil happen to the just. Exactly. Proves the point. There shall no evil happen to the just, but the wicked shall be filled with mischief. Lying lips are an abomination to Yahweh, but they that deal truly are his delight. So you've got to be truthful in this thing, and you've got to deal right in the correct way. A prudent man concealeth knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaimeth foolishness. Yeah, so, you know, there's a scripture which says, even he that is unwise shall be accounted wise if he keeps silence. You know, like, sometimes it's when a man opens his mouth, you realize, hang on a minute, this guy's a complete idiot. So sometimes just by keeping silent, you can avoid a lot of that. Knowing when to talk and when not to talk is very important in this truth. As the apostles say, I mean, I was just watching the apostles. As the apostles always say, this truth is like a song. And again, I'm into music, so I can talk about this stuff with a little bit of understanding. If you're in a band, let's say you're a saxophonist in a band, and you've got a saxophonist, a drummer, a pianist, a guitarist. Let's say there's those instruments in the song. You got to know when it's your time to play and when it's not, because you can't be playing all the time because you're in a band, you know, and you need to give other instruments room to speak. So if I'm a saxophonist and I'm playing all these notes, first of all, eventually the listener's going to get tired of just hearing the saxophone because he can't hear anything else. And secondly, the other instruments aren't allowed to do their part because you're too busy playing over what they should be playing. So you need to sometimes understand when it's time to speak, when it's time not to speak. It's you know, this isn't, my name's Caleb, yeah, this isn't the Caleb show. You know, it's not all about me, it's about the body. But then, and you know, if you use music as an analogy, the band is like a body. You know, like you got different parts of the body in the band, and each needs to have its room to do its part. If you're overbearing, or overplaying the other instruments' parts, eventually they're going to be thinking, well, what the hell am I doing here? This person obviously doesn't understand that we're a body. Why aren't they just off playing by themselves? If they think they can do it all by themselves, why don't they just be a soloist? Maybe they'll have success. If someone wants to hear an album of 100% saxophone solos with no other instruments, maybe you'll have some success, but chances are you're going to need those other instruments at some point just to add variety. Let's use cooking as an example. Right, I'll have rice, but you need rice with other things. You need some vegetables, you need some meat, you need some other flavors. If someone just serving you a plate of pure rice day after day after day, you're gonna get bored of that shit. And also, it's not going to be too good for your body because your body needs various nutrients. So, you know what I mean? You can't, or you could use pasta. If someone's just giving you plain pasta day after day with no seasoning, no meat, no nothing, or even some fish, or I don't know whatever you want to have your pasta. If it's just pure, just one thing all the time, people are going to get bored of that. And also, the body's not going to be able to function properly because it needs these other parts, these other nutrients. So let's go. Where was I at? Start from 24 again. I think that's where I was at. The hand of the diligent shall bear rule, but a slothful shall be under tribute. Yeah, so if you're diligent and you're hardworking, you're kind of proving your worth. Just like in the parable of the talents, where Yahushua gave one guy 10, one guy 5, and one guy 1. The guy that had 10 put his talents to work and made another 10. The guy that had 5 put his talents to work and made another 5. The slothful servant hid his talent in a napkin and made no profit. So therefore, he didn't prosper. He ended up being considered one of the least servants because he wasn't a diligent servant. Verse 25. Heaviness in the heart of man maketh it stoop, but a good word maketh it glad. Again, power of life and death are in the tongue. Words can be healing, man. You can really help cheer up a depressed spirit with good words. So you got to have a care for the brotherhood, man. And part of that is in sincere words and good counsel, because we all go through down points at some time, myself included. And sometimes a good word can really help lift the spirit when it's down, or help cheer one up when they're going through hard times. And all of us brothers in this truth are going through hard times. Some people's circumstances and situations are different than others, but just because brothers might not be speaking openly about it, don't think that brother's not going through shit, because again, not all of us mention the things that we're dealing with. But you never know, man. You might say something to a brother and it can make a big difference to that brother when he's really catching hell, and you didn't know that he might have been catching hell. But you can lighten a brother's burden by a kind word here and there. So it says, the righteous is more excellent than his neighbour, but the way of the wicked seduceth them. So so you're not supposed to be, trust not in oppression, and envy not the ways of the wicked, Verse 26, 27. The slothful man roasteth not that which he took in hunting, but the substance of a diligent man is precious. Yeah, so the substance of a diligent man, he takes care of his business, man, and he makes sure makes sure that his house is in order constantly. Verse 28, this is the last one. In the way of righteousness is life, and in the pathway thereof is no death. That's beautiful, man. In the way of righteousness is life, and in the pathway thereof there is no death. So stay on that road, man. Keep going in at the straight gate. Stay on that narrow path, because the way of righteousness is life, and in the pathway thereof is no death. See, even if we were to be made martyrs in this truth, if we stay on the path of righteousness, there is no death, man. Yeah, you can kill the body, but you can't kill the spirit. That's the spirit that we're supposed to be in. So when we stay on the path of righteousness, We have nothing to fear except the Most High Himself. And when did any that trust in the Most High ever be confounded? It didn't happen. So we're going to be taken care of so long as we stay in the path of righteousness. So yeah, just a quick lesson. Giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. Lord willing, this was edifying. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone at well. Shalom to you, Akim, teaching this word around the globe with faith and truth. And on to the next one. Shalom for now. Wa Abba Welcome Yeshua. Shalom.